As I was eating breakfast that morning, no matter what I tried, his words just kept creeping back into my mind. It was a lot to unravel, so when I had time before class, I decided to dissect it and break it down. First, he said,
Your fear will be your downfall.
This was kind of easy to figure out, since it became clear to me that all he was trying to do in the beginning was freak me out, possibly try to get me to die of a heart attack. While unlikely, it's certainly not impossible. Next, he said,
When I become free of this curse.
This wasn't too hard to figure out either, seeing as we're both under the curse of losing, then regaining parts of our bodies. And not only that, he has supernatural abilities. I've seen him teleport, cause me to hallucinate, and judging from last night, he's probably telekinetic. What do I have? Just my flashlight and wits apparently. My odds of survival are certainly not preferable. Lastly, before finishing with his infamous outro, he said,
I will murder you, just like you murdered me.
This one, I still can figure out. I mean, it's pretty obvious that whatever his plans are don't include us being happy-go-lucky friends, and this also explains why he targeted me. However, there's one teensy-weensy detail about that is totally off. I've never killed anyone. Like, sure, there's an occasional bumping into someone which causes the butterfly effect and ends with them dying occasionally, but it's the word he used. Murdered. That's telling me that this was no accident. This was 100% my fault. At the very least, I still learned something from the first line. Tonight, I'll have to stay calm. I didn't have all the answers. Heck, not even an eighth of the answers. But I had something. I would have gone to start researching heart attacks and those kinds of phenomenons, but my contemplation took up too much time, and class was about to start. I wasn't feeling up to class today. All I wanted to do was for this to be over, so a cure or even a general explanation would be all I could ever ask for. But hey, I trudged onward back to my room and sat at my desk, and pulled up to class and turned on my camera. When I started to feel incredibly drowsy, I decided to rest my eyes for a moment when I heard a voice. His voice. I immediately opened my eyes to find him staring back at me on my screen, smiling devilishly. It was the first time I could actually see what he looked like. He did have a lot of bear-like features, but he had slits for a nose on his snout, his eyes were that of a reptile, and his tongue was forked. He looked like a virus that invaded my computer to completely obliterate it.
Do you know why I'm here, tormenting you during the day?
He asked. I shook my head.
Well, before I explain why, allow me to give you a little anecdote to help you understand. Think back to the simpler times of 1945, the climax of World War II. There was a man who knew that his reign had come to an end, so instead of fighting on, even though it was utterly hopeless, he decided to surrender his life and commit suicide. Do you know the name of this man?
I thought for a couple of seconds, and then shook my head.
His name was Adolf Hitler. I'm sure you've heard of him. The point is, do you seriously want to keep fighting, even though your chances are next to none, when you could instead give in and surrender? I can make it easy. I can make it painless. All you have to do tonight is nothing. That's all I have to say. Until tonight, Joseph Sanders.
He then left my monitor, and I was left with a very annoyed class who apparently asked me a question 5 minutes ago and never got a response. I didn't care though. I left, even with 20 minutes of it left. Nothing mattered. Nothing except tonight. Thank you so much for listening. If you're listening to this on YouTube, then feel free to subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified when I release content like this. If you're listening to this on another platform, then do whatever it is you do on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, or whatever. You know the platform better than me. Credits to all the sound effects I didn't create will be listed and linked in the description. Huge thanks to my backpacker for making the art for this series. Inspiration for this project goes to Scott Cawthon's Five Nights at Freddy's and Q Code's The Edge of Sleep. Thanks again for listening, and have a good one. Peace.